Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Glenda.
Hello.
And Jochen,
Scott.
Mikkel,
Hey.
or Michelle. Don't know how you pronounce that. I'm sorry. And
Oops.
oh,
Didn't need to do that.
oh, it's Scott. Hi.
Good
Oh,
morning.
Rain
Admit.
and Ossa. Hey, son.
Hello. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Could be quite a lot of that today, I think. Do we have
And
the
oh, Lila is there.
oh right, yeah, yeah.
Did
What?
you?
No, I can't see her. Where?
She's right there.
Oh, there you are. Yeah.
Co-host.
Yes, yes, there we go.
Oh, Enya. We have some new people here today.
That's
Very
nice.
welcome. Yeah, really
I'm
nice.
happy about that.
Yeah. So
Excellent.
what we do is that if you have any questions at all, you just raise your hand and then we go into a conversation, whatever is happening in your process at the moment, if there's anything specific that you would like to ask us about, and then we can go into a conversation about that. On a practical thing, I just want to say that next time we have something going on is on Sunday, where we have been asked to speak at POK. And if you would like to join the meeting on Sunday, we're going to talk a lot about all the things we want and all the things we don't want, and how we can be locked into that delusion of that being real. I really want my vegetable garden to do
Yeah.
better. How that is even a possible thought.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about, and all the things we don't want. I really don't want, my, yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking of Daryl. I really don't want my daughter to be angry at me and to fight with me. So all of those things that we want in life or we don't want in life is what we're talking about on
Yeah.
Sunday. Um, what you do if you want to join on Sunday is that you write to Patty.
Yeah, Patty Levin.
Lila,
Hopefully
Lila,
everybody,
could you put her email in? So you just write an email to Patty Levin, and
that
saying
you're
that,
part of our Discord community and that you would like to join the POK. It is free,
yeah.
and
And they have
that
so many meetings. I
they
mean,
do.
last week they were supposed to have one with Byron Katie. She had to cancel last minute. And so they have really, really so many interesting people speaking,
Yeah,
and us.
and us.
Yeah. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
so that's on Sunday. And the next inquiry group we have is the 29th of July.
Yes.
So yeah,
Okay.
I think that's
I
it.
think that's it.
Oh yeah, I also want to say if you're not part of the Discord community yet, then you can send an email to Todd to
Mhm.
unfetteredmindfulness@gmail.com, and then he will pass you the link. The Hive Mind community that we have on Discord is really, really good. No matter which fetter you're working with, no matter what you're working with on the awakening path. If you're neurodivergent and you would like to connect with a community in there, we also have the atypical awakening thread in there where you're definitely not alone. We have a very neurodivergent community. Yeah.
Also, just a note for the new people that are here. If you would like to ask a question, but it's something because this is being recorded and will be, public on the Unfettered Mindfulness channel. If you would like to bring up something that you don't want to be recorded or be public, just ask ahead of time and we can pause the recording for you. So it's no problem.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's it. All
There we
right.
go.
Yeah, off we go.
Yeah. First one.
Hello. Yeah.
Uh, is
Spotlight.
is that,
Yeah.
and then we spotlight us as well.
How you been? Hold on a second. Let's just get us spotlighted.
Here we
There you
go.
go. Good to see you.
Hi, it's my turn, right? Because I'm on
Yes.
my phone, so I can't see if.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Sorry, it's you.
great,
Need to have
great,
it.
great.
Yeah, I'm just
Hello, hello.
your phone or the volume a little bit. Hi.
Hi. So a couple of weeks or months ago, I've watched all the videos from Fetter 1 to Fetter 5.
Wow,
And yeah, it was really
that was a
nice.
lot.
That's a lot of videos.
Yes, and it's my question because it is a lot, and I'm so overwhelmed. And yeah, I've watched all the videos, and I thought, oh yeah, I'm in Fetter 4 and 5, and then I realized, oh no, wait, the situation I'm in is about Fetter 4 or 5, but it's also a want, so it's about
Yeah.
Fetter 4. Oh wait, it's doubt, so it's about Fetter 2, and that's a thought and selfing, so it's Fetter 1. So I got really frustrated and angry. So I stopped with the practice for a couple of weeks, and I thought I have to try something different, what is faster to the path of enlightenment. But
Yeah.
now I'm back.
You're welcome.
So funny that you
Because
started with Fetter 5 and then you end up with the frustration and the anger, so you jump off, which is Fetter 5. I completely get it. The first thing I would like to say is that I mean, okay, wow, all all the videos for the lower fives in a week, that is really, really packing it in. Yeah,
Month.
my
Yeah.
month. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But still, that's a lot.
Yeah.
The fetters are not real.
Yeah.
The fetters are not real. It's not a real thing. It's just for us to have some kind of framework to know that when I have that feeling of doubt, am I doing this right? Am I just, more stupid than the rest of them? Everybody's experienced something. I don't experience that. Then we can go, oh, hang on, hang on. That thought has a root in doubt.
Mm.
Okay, I'm going to go to the doubt curriculum and then do the exercises there so I can dissolve this feeling of doubt. And while you do that, you might get, like you said, a feeling of anger. Oh, no, that's Fetter 5. Now I need to go to Fetter 5. So that jumping back and forth, it's just confusing you. It's not supposed to confuse you. It's supposed to make it easier for you.
mm,
So so the moment you have that there's a difference in seeing, oh, this is doubt, and this is greed, or this is anger, or there's a difference in seeing that and then identifying with it and saying, oh no, I am now the angry one. I need to, you know what I mean? That is pointing to someone that is not there to begin with.
mhm,
The first thing is the fetters are not real. They're
Mm.
only tools for you to see through a delusion in this moment right now. And the second thing is, all of those types of identification are there all the time.
Mhm.
They're there all the time. It's just a matter of how much you identify with them, how much you then are the angry one, or the doubtful one, or the feeling inadequate one, or the. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, exactly. I think the important takeaway is why we also tell people not to just watch the first, because a lot of people will feel like I can only watch the first Fetter stuff until I've broken the first Fetter, and then I can move on and watch the next one. We really recommend, maybe not just in a month, but like watching all 10 Fetters worth of material. Like get
mm,
acquainted with it all, because just like Pernilla said, we are going through these things all the time, every day. And it's really to have enough of a toolkit about it, or enough of a framework where you can, in any moment, notice where the identification is arising. Because all of it, all 10 fetters basically are about some type of identification.
Mm,
And it's just that you're noticing, like, okay, so now this identification is around wanting or not wanting something. Oh, now there's identification about doubt and being caught up in that kind of, I think this, no, I don't even know if I think this. Do I? And then, like, this feeling of like more first fetter selfing comes online. It's just to notice that every one of those is a type of identification, and they're all pointing us to the same place. Ultimately, it all comes down to this feeling of being this identified, unique, separate character who is existing in this way. It's just that the only reason that we use the fetters is because, like you said, there's a certain way of kind of parsing apart the human experience into something a little bit more bite-sized and manageable, so we can recognize that these are ways that many of us find ourselves identifying at different times of the day. But it's not something where, like, you know this issue is going to be a 4 or 5 issue and is only about 4 or 5 and has
Yeah.
no roots in anything else. Like there's still identity in there. There's still so instead of getting frustrated in that regard or putting it too much, just look at where is the identification in this? What is it actually pointing back to?
Mm.
And we can use different tools. Like if it's about, and we're going to talk a lot about this, the POK one, but if it's about craving and aversion, then you can analyze, what is it that I think craving or aversion actually are? Do they really exist? Who is it that thinks they want something to be the way that it's not? What is the exact experience of wanting feel like? Am I imagining something that's not here and comparing it? Like we can get granular with it once we know that that's what's happening right now.
Mm.
But ultimately, it is always coming back to that identification in the middle of it.
But in my experience, it isn't the case that I have something and it is about Fetter 4 or Fetter 3, but more the fetters are more layers for me. So
Hmm.
it's I don't know. I wish to have a banana right now. So it's obviously yes a fetter 4 stuff, but it's also Fetter 3, 2, and 1.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
my question would be, how can I apply all the feathers for one situation, because all the YouTube stuff is so overwhelming with so much
Yeah.
information,
Yeah.
that I don't know, should I try the exercise that I'm so much more than the wish of having a banana, or should I try the bubble of reality exercise?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have, yeah, can you help me with
Yeah.
that?
No, yeah, I completely there's a difference between the lower fives and the higher fives. So now when we talk about the lower fives, they're very much what you talk about. For example, I would like a banana. You can work with Feta 4 with that craving, and you can work with an exercise with like what is it I think will feel better if I have this banana right now. Well, I always have a banana at 11 o'clock. Well, that is Fetter 3.
Mm.
Or if you have
Yes, exactly.
but I actually feel a little bit sad. Okay, that's Fetter 2. And you can also look at it with like, but who is it that is craving? That is Fetter 1. So you can take every single experience that you have and pick it into one of those type of identification. And it's just figuring out which one right now is the most alive. But if I should give you one thing that you can do no matter which situation you're in, and you just off you go for the next month, that is what you do until we speak next time. It is that you question your experience all the time,
Mm.
that you pick it apart. So, for example, I would like a banana. Okay, how do I know that?
Hmm.
What is it, a thought that has told me it's 11 o'clock, I need a banana? Or is it a feeling in my mouth? Do I have an inner image of a banana and how it feels to bite into it? Okay, is that actually here right now? Or is that just another thought? So if you should do one thing,
And then also, sorry, also just and check in. Is there something that feels either physically or emotionally uncomfortable right now, which is sparking that thought about wanting a banana?
yeah.
So,
So if I should say like one thing, it would be start to notice your thoughts. How much is actually happening right now, and how much is a thought about what is
mm,
happening right now? So right now I have a thought about that I want a banana, but do I feel in my body that I actually would like a banana, or is it just because my eye just fell on a banana and now I want a banana? Or is it because it's 11 o'clock and now I want a banana? Is it something that I feel in my body, or is it thoughts about what I think I feel?
mm. Or
Hmm.
using that as a deflection from feeling something else that you're
Yeah,
feeling.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. My girlfriend just yelled at me, so now I want a banana.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay, okay. I will do that. Yes. Thank
Amazing.
you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
And
Yeah,
thank you very much for pointing out how utterly confusing the
it
feathers can be, because
really can be.
you can really, really, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, make a circus out of that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's really like it gets easier the more acquainted you are with it to be able to just because the way I look at it, I mean, obviously we have a lot of specific exercises for investigating specific elements, but um, it's basically for me, it's like the way I see it is just exactly like you said, it's really about investigating our experience at any given moment. And these tools aren't even something that you necessarily consciously employ after a while. You kind of get used to just, there's a feeling of craving here. It's like a very intuitive, immediate checking back into, oh, there's a feeling of loneliness in
Mhm.
the body right now. Oh, okay. So feel that loneliness. Recognize, does that have any connection to a banana?
Yeah.
Check through your sensory experiences. Oh yeah, I did just imagine a banana, and I had like a glimpse of the refrigerator or the kitchen where the banana was sitting on the table, and okay, and just notice that these are discrete individual snapshots of sensory phenomena, and then allow them to kind of pull apart like into their discrete little phenomena so that they're not making that thing that we call craving for a banana. But then we can also find, well, what have I been missing underneath that? Oh, I've been missing this feeling of loneliness that I haven't been allowing myself to sit with. Just, oh, okay, just can feel that. And then so it's that very integrated process into our life where it's just being really present and mindful with whatever's happening, and then being able to kind of just sort of know intuitively what the right tool is, just because we're kind of so aware of our inner workings at that point.
Mm. And
Yeah.
and
Okay.
I also just want to say that there on Todd's channel there are so many videos. I don't know if you know that Daryl and the Wheel of Identification series.
Hmm.
There's so many of them that is about the 4-5 experience. Um,
Lots of talk about donuts and coffee.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So to get to the point where the tools imply unconsciously or without much effort,
Yeah.
I should just first question everything. And how do I notice that I want a banana? And
How
yeah, for the next month.
how much of this experience right now is a physical sensory experience, and how much is a thought about it? And
Mm-hmm.
remember that thoughts can also be a physical experience. So you can have a thought about how it is to chew a banana. You're not chewing a banana right now. That is happening in your mind, right?
You can get the flavor
You
of
can
a
get a
banana
flavor, you can
even
have a
without it.
visual image of it without seeing a banana. So really noticing how much is here in my sensory experience right now and how much is thoughts about it.
And
Okay.
noticing too, like, if it is something like that, is the body feeling hypoglycemic? Do
Yeah.
you feel like you're actually low on sugar, or do you feel your stomach is actually rumbling because you haven't eaten in, 12 hours and you feel it grumbling? Then anything effectively would do, but the mind is going to say, well, banana, that's high sugar, starch, it's going to be boop, like that, it kind of pops that up as an option. The other thing is, I think we should also mention when we're talking about 4 and 5, especially, is that just having a thought about a banana or even having a preference for bananas isn't necessarily a problem in and of itself. It's
Mm.
more of the attachment to, if I can't have a banana now, I'm going to freak out, or, having to have the banana
I'm
all
going
the
to have a
time.
banana instead of a donut
Yeah,
because that is less calories and
yeah, yeah,
less fat and less,
yeah.
yeah. Then it's all of a sudden something completely different.
Yeah, so there are lots of different options as far as why we are going for the banana, and it's just interesting for us to investigate why that's coming up. If it's just a biological thing that you're just hungry, and it's kind of like the first thing that pops to mind, it's not necessarily a craving in that regard. It's just the biological need for food. Um, but we can have all sorts of real attachments and fixations to certain foods, obviously.
Mm.
Hey, thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
So
much.
good seeing
I'll let
Good.
you.
you know in a month how it works for me.
Please
We
do.
would love to hear
Look
that.
forward to
Thank you.
hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we got Michelle. Hello.
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 How are
Hi,
you?
nice to see you in
Likewise.
face to face. I'm the one on your team that's been helping you with I'm the Michelle of the New Zelner.
Thank you
Hi,
for that.
amazing.
Thank you for
So
that.
put a
Thank you.
face to a
You
name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks
stand
so
back up.
much for
Thank you
that.
so much. Thank you. And
That's,
for everybody not knowing what we're talking about, we are right now creating a course for all the fetters. So we have worked on taking all the videos, making transcripts, making bullet points, making pointers and keynotes. And then Todd, he just finished writing a book that goes with the first fetter material. So the first Fetter is coming up as a course very, very shortly. As soon as this one had read through it,
And then I want to read through
and then
Sean.
Todd had read
So,
through it, then it's going to come up. But Michelle is one of the people that has helped us with taking all of the material and making it into text form so we have a structure to work with. So thank you
thank
very
you.
much. Thank you very much.
yeah, it's been great. I have what you just went over was helpful, but I do have a kind of very nuanced, specific question. I've been in Feta 4, and
Mhm.
I was doing the first inquiry of the first lesson of Fetter 4,
Yeah.
um, where you have us think of a want and explode it and make it big. And so I'm running into an issue because the want that I have is in regards to a salary that I walked away from. So I
Mm.
quit my job about 4 years ago, made very good money, and I'm watching, doing the math in my bank account. Anyway, so the want is that I want that salary back and all the feelings of what it would bring. And the problem that I'm running into is I've been there. I felt the calm, the being able to go on vacation, the being able to replace a car, to not have. I've felt all those things, so that when you say, "Well, it's not going to happen," I'm like, "The heck it is! It has. It
Yeah.
has." I've been in that peaceful, non-anxious, and so I get a little irritated. Like, yes, it would change. It would. I know how I would feel. I know. So I wonder if you could speak to that a little bit, to um, how to get out of that rut of I want it because I know how it did make me feel, to not have to worry about, car repairs or
Mm.
whatever. Can you help me kind of push me
Yeah,
through
yeah.
that? I'm not
It's
sure.
it's a bit like that, when you were young and a teenager and you had a really toxic boyfriend and then you walked away from the relationship because it was so toxic, and 8 months down the line you had forgotten all the bad things. You only remembered all the good things, and it was so nice, it was so cozy. You said that you walked away from the job. Why did you walk away?
Um, it was during the pandemic, and it just was so soul crushing to continue in the role. I was a teacher for 21 years, and it just
Mm.
got really, really difficult during the pandemic with the masking
Mm.
and I don't know, education is just a difficult place to be right now
Mm.
anyway. And so I felt that for my own sanity, I couldn't continue. So
So
I did it on purpose. And then I have a lot of guilt about that as well. Like I couldn't
yeah,
just suck
yeah.
it up.
Yeah, because I think now we're beginning to get to the real part of it, and the part that you're diverting with by talking about the salary. Because like you said that you did it, for your own sanity, and yet you have guilt about prioritizing your own sanity. I think that is a direction we might should at least investigate a little bit in that. Do you have other experiences in your life that when you prioritize you, when you have a very clear no, and you prioritize you, that then you get guilt afterwards for prioritizing you by having a very clear no? Are you the type that I can ask you to pick me up at the airport at 4 in the morning and you will come and pick me up?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when you suddenly have that, okay, enough is enough. I'm not doing that anymore. And then you're going like, okay, I'm amazing salary. I need to preserve my energy. I need to prioritize this. Obviously, if that was one of the first times that you did it, it was a very rookie experience. You didn't really know how to do it, and then you're, plagued by guilt afterwards for prioritizing you. But that is actually where I would recommend you to look. It's into that I can recommend you to go to the sixth Fetter, where there's a lesson called Clear Boundaries,
Okay.
because it's very much about feeling that it's okay for you to say no, just for the sake of saying no. It's okay for you. I'm not talking about the teaching job and the salary and all that, because I really think that is just your diversion. Thinking about how much money you made and how much money you would have now if you had stayed is just a diversion from you actually saying no to something that was toxic for you.
Yeah, I can feel some like emotions coming up. So you're
Yeah.
probably right. Damn it. Can't I just look at my bank account?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the money instead. So much better. So much better.
That's easier.
Yeah, I know. But it's really that I would recommend you to really look into um your assumption about a no, what that means, because a lot of people, they have that feeling that I'm putting my foot down and I'm saying no and I'm absolutely and I'm all that, but that is not a no. A no is just a response, like a yes. There's no difference. There's no defensiveness. There's no attack. There's no anything. It's just a response, just like yes. Then you can say no, and that's it. But if you've never been raised with clear boundaries and you never have had that feeling of um I don't want to say justification because it's not what I mean. It's another word than justification. Second language here. It's another word than justification, because justification means that you need to justify why you say no. If you have never been taught that it's okay to say no just because you don't want to, and that's fine, then you're out of practice with it. And then you would need to look for justification to why, and you don't owe a justification to anyone for anything. You can just say no. And you need to start practicing saying no, even to the small stuff. Would you like a cup of tea? No, I don't want a cup of tea. Just to feel how does that actually feel? Um, would you like some apple pie? No, I don't really feel, but I've spent all afternoon making this apple pie. And then you say yes. Because you feel guilty that I have spent all afternoon making the apple pie, but your no was there first. And no is a final. It's a final. It ends there. So start to look into how malleable your borders and your boundaries are. How malleable is your no? How much can I guilt you into an okay then? Because
Yeah,
you're uncomfortable with a no.
I can definitely see that. Yeah. Just in looking back and growing up and things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, we did what we were told. Doesn't matter.
yeah. I think
Okay.
that what you are forgetting in the equation when you do the bank account, it is that you also in that you're selling your sanity. So when you are tallying up on your bank account how much would be there, what was sold was your sanity.
Yeah.
And how is that a fair price? I mean, what you would have on the bank account, is that the price for your sanity?
Right. No, I know. And I've thought of that, and I go back and say, but it wasn't that bad. You could have pushed through,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how a toxic relationship works.
Yeah.
That's how that works. That Michelle, she says, "No, I don't want to do that." And then Michelle's evil twin sister called Michelle, she goes like, "Come on. It was so easy. And you had like lots of holidays when the school was off, and there was so many benefits with it. You could absolutely have stuck that out. The pension, oh my God, the pension. Why didn't you just stick it out?" But that's Michelle's evil twin sister. So you have a very, very clear no. You have a very, I would not have been happy there. I would not have been happy. No, but you could have stuck it out. It wasn't that bad, was it? That is every toxic relationship in the book. I mean, that is toxic relationship 101. So you
So
really
how do I
need,
break up with her? Yeah, that's that's exactly, you were in my head. That's exactly the conversation I've been having for the
Yeah,
past 4 years, and how
yeah,
you ruined your kids' lives. And, I've just beaten the heck out of myself.
Mhm.
yep, yeah.
Yeah.
But if when your evil twin says that, how you ruined your kid's life, then I would like for you to take the sanity, Michelle, because you would be insane.
Mhm.
What will ruin your kid's life more?
Yeah.
Having an insane mom with money on the account, or having a sane mom that is not going traveling for holidays?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So so when I am beating myself up and I don't even catch it, I just let it spiral. Is there any, like, how
Yeah.
can I start?
Question. Who is saying that? Who is saying that? Where does that evil twin come from?
And is it true?
Yeah.
And another thing I would like for you to look at is also your idea that you can only earn that kind of money by selling your sanity.
Yeah. And yeah. And I find myself, when those feelings start to come up about that, I tend to find myself just looking for a job rather than to try to stop the feeling of whatever the feeling is.
Yes.
Well, I was gonna say that's because I love everything you said. But we also don't want to avoid the issue of when you have that. Well, okay. When we're doing any of this work, it's really important to also recognize that we are, biological entities living in a world where unfortunately money is necessary for, basic survival. And so we also don't want to discount that we also have to have enough money to survive in some way. But, I love that you're pointing past that to that element of things. I know also that yes, it is possible that in certain circumstances, when you have more money or something, that you're not worried about money because you have money. You can do things that you couldn't do otherwise. That's normal. But it's the same sort of thing where when we talk about like people living in a monastery, you don't have to
Mm.
encounter a lot of hardship and difficulty in a monastery. So it's great. But then when you come out, all of a sudden we're not quite as enlightened as we thought we are when we actually have to pay taxes and deal with drivers and things on the road. So I think it's also important to look at, okay, so now you're in a situation where things come up around money. And one, I think is all incredibly helpful, what Pernilla just laid out. But then also when you are having those thoughts of, I wish I had that salary again, or I wish I had, those things that came with it, look now. The idea is that it was the money that brought something, a feeling of security, a feeling of abundance, a feeling of ability to do things, a feeling of lack of worry, whatever it is. Notice that those are the things that you now feel that you either have that you don't want or don't have that you do want.
Mm.
So now I feel insecure. Now I feel afraid or a
Like a
feeling of
mom,
lack
like a
or
bad mom.
yeah,
I can't give my
exactly.
children what they deserve.
Yeah, exactly. So these are the things which it wasn't um the money was keeping you from having to feel these experiences, right? You were they just didn't come up because it wasn't relevant. Now it's something though that you can actually encounter and see the feeling of lack of security or inadequacy or whatever it is that you're encountering that goes way deeper than however much money is actually in your bank account.
Mm.
So it's all pointing you back to those places where the money is just kind of keeping you from needing to feel it, or at the very least, it's a good excuse for, um, looking back on it now, thinking, I didn't have any of that because I had the money in the bank account. It is possible, as you were saying, that if we went back in the actual situation, these things were showing up in other guises. It just wasn't, yes, you could take holidays. Yes, you didn't have to worry
But then,
about
but
getting a
then,
car, but
sorry,
yeah,
but then you could take holidays not to feel that you are
exactly.
not a good mom,
Yeah, you know,
because the feeling of not being a good mom was there. But now you could take holidays and go, well, at least I'm taking the kids on a holiday, which means I'm a good mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you can't take them on holiday. The feeling is the same of not being a good mom. Now you just can't divert from it anymore. So the feeling is the same.
Yeah.
So on the absolute relative level, yeah, it is useful to have, a job where we have enough money coming in to, maintain ourselves, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's to see how much that is being amplified for the sake of not feeling something that is really uncomfortable, emotionally, or in terms of like our toxic starting point or something like that, that really needs to be investigated. And the money is just an idea that, well, if I had that, I wouldn't have to feel this anymore. But it's coming out in all different ways that we're often just not aware of.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That resonates. And I guess the part is that healing aspect of when now that I see that it's coming up, I'm not practiced at giving the space and the for it to
Yeah.
be seen.
Yeah.
I have to learn.
Yeah.
Okay. Onward then.
Honored.
I love
Good
that.
luck with it.
Love that.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you
Thank you
again.
so much. Thank you so much. And
Thank
thanks for
you.
all your work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely
Yeah,
sitting-
it's been great.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you.
Thank
Good.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
And
Oh,
no, that's it. And speaking of money, I just want to say that we are very happy for all donations. If people want to donate, we have the YouTube channels and we have these meetings and we do everything for free. We love helping and we do want to have, peace on earth, one awakening at a time. And we do that absolutely for free, but we're very, very happy for donations. That is what makes everything possible. So, yeah. Then it's John.
plug away.
There we go.
Hello, John.
Hi, John.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Loud and clear. How are you?
Shockingly anxious. I'm usually not a having a difficult time with public speaking kind of person, but that's what's arising.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, I think that maybe part of my question, part of it, I think, is that there's a very wispy historical background of like really needing to know things, really needing to be the smart one, something like that. And I don't even know what I need to ask. Like I've been in the Discord community for a long time and I'll have some things to say or to ask. But now it's like, I think like the first question was talking about, there's sort of layers where they're sort of all relevant. I think in my everyday experience, it takes some sort of active effort to imagine like a continuous self doing this, that, or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So in a certain sense, like it seems, like 1 seems pretty clear, maybe up to 4 and 5, like I don't really want things. I haven't wanted things, but do I want to want things? Like, am I, is that still number 4? Like there was definitely personal choices that I was doing in a patterned way, addictive behaviors where I realized like, oh, this thing stimulates like the neurochemistry of wanting. It's like it's triggering dopamine. And if you've ever taken something that triggers like pure dopamine, it's not reward, it's not satisfying, it's just like craving, it's more, it tastes like more. And so it was like I wanted to want, well, I don't really want that anymore. But there's also the higher 5 stuff. It's like there's form, there's a center, there's some sort of like primordial, maybe emotionally tied resistance between, inside and outside. But then there's also like, I'll be writing code or writing an email and it's just writing itself.
Yeah.
It's just aware of itself, just appearing spontaneously. And it's kind of amazing. Like, wow, this would be a boring movie, but somehow this is an extremely interesting movie. I'm just watching this email compose itself. What's going to happen next?
Yeah.
And so it's like, there's that middle way thing, right? Like you do something. Now don't do nothing. It seems like practices and it seems like, like cause and effect seems real,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and practices have outcomes. If
Yep.
you
Yeah.
if you if you
Yep.
want to learn how to focus better, like doing concentration meditations or things like that seem to help, but also like there's sort of nowhere to go or nowhere to get, or it's not clear like what the edge of the sticker you're trying to peel, like there's
Yeah.
Oh
no
yeah.
free edge to grab at. So it's
Yeah.
really like that's not really a question, but
Yeah, but it sounds to me like you would like some kind of direction on where to look next, because it sounds like you have a really good grasp of all the 10 feathers. You have 9 feather experiences with the flow and all that. So what I find interesting, and that is an ongoing thing that just happens all the time, it is to be very clear on what is an inner experience and what is an outer experience. So, for example, where you say that the craving and the aversion, when we spoke in the first part, it's very clear about there's something out there that I want, and then I can look into, what does that do to me and all of that. But there's an even finer level of that, and that is where there's that whenever something is perceived as outside of you, you're delusional. Whenever you think something is outside, when you look out, for example, and you see a tree, and you have that feeling of I am here and the tree is there, you're delusional. The tree is not there, the tree is in here. You can close one eye, and then the vision you have with the closed eye is in the same field as the vision where you look at the tree out there. You can pull that in, so you have both of them happening here. So what I would love for you to work with until next time that we see you is work with that. Really, really becoming aware of how delusional we are. And I was talking about myself as well. I'm not saying you particularly are delusional, and I am not. I am absolutely bloody delusional all the time, because because of my biological being, and because of surges of hormones that are released, like we talk about with dopamine and all that. We have a biological and biochemical being that is working against our enlightenment, because the body keeps the eyes are working in a way so it looks like things are three-dimensional and up there. And if I'm not aware, I can bloody forget that that plant over there is not over there, it's in here. I can hear a dog barking over there by the neighbors. If I am not aware, I think the dog is barking over by the neighbors and not in here. Everything is happening so close all the time. And what I struggled most with, because you sound very much like me, that everything is very cerebral, very understanding, logic is wonderful, and small neat boxes, and it's just oh, but that is it kept me at a distance, because I had the intellectual understanding and then all the body stuff.
yeah, that I think that's 100% on point. Like I'm extremely sensitive,
Yeah.
and so that was the defense. Put
Yes.
up all these intellectual barriers, put up all these walls, all these layers,
Yeah. Yeah.
putting on intellectual armor to
Yes.
like keep it away, because
Yes.
like that's the only way to protect myself from the intensity of it.
Love that.
So there's like
Exactly.
the longitudinal component of like remember to do this,
Yep.
and then also the activity component of like looking at the separation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. There was something else about what you said that sparked something. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Yeah, there were so many things, but I thought if we start at one place, because I know exactly what I want to say next time.
Okay.
I think I know what I want to say next time. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I lost what it was that had specifically sparked. Hmm. I'll call you back if I remember it during the course of the
Of
group.
today. Yeah.
Um, oh yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things that's like
It
hanging
is
just outside of the
just outside of reach.
yeah. Hmm. A lot of times they come back. Um, yeah, I think that's what you said will be sufficient for now because I cannot remember what it was
No,
that was.
I think it would be fun for you to work with the six feather stuff in not particularly like I talk about it in the six feather. You can obviously if you wanted. Then I would say 6 and 7 together would be absolutely mind blowing for you if you really have to focus on everything you think because that knee-jerk reaction of how we perceive the world is a lie. It's not how it is. It's just how our biological meat suit is experiencing it. So really see if you can pick that layer off. And if you feel that vulnerability that you talked about, that you have that like a protective layer, then just sit with that vulnerability and see what is that actually pointing to because it might be, you know, developmental distress, something that has happened pre-verbal, you will never ever get access to it, then we can work with it in one way. But it can also be some kind of intellectual protection that you have memories of, you know, childhood and you needed to be the clever one and then people would treat you in a certain way, so that was your survival. Then you can sit with that. But really see if you can take it really slow down and zoom in to what is actually arising in your experience, in your direct experience. And it's never ever out there. It's never ever out there. It can't be.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We got more to say next time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, yeah.
Yeah, I'm having a funny. I've been a little off the past couple of days. I'm having a hard time holding things. So it's like something came up during it, and then it was just like,
Yeah.
yeah. So
We're struggling back.
yeah, I'll try to. I should start writing stuff down while it's.
That's why we have the
I
notebook.
know I should remember that that's there. If only I had a memory.
Hi, Tamara.
Hi.
How are you?
You hear me right? Okay. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm not sure I have like the exact question. I think part of my raising hand here is I think I want to come in contact with this fear of being here and yeah, I'm also quite afraid talking in groups because I feel like of course one cannot continue like next week or afterwards and talking in groups often leave me with confusion or recurring questions and then I easily fall into helplessness. So yeah, but I'll just talk. So I'll try.
I would also just preface also that if you can come to the POK meeting on Sunday, it's like half talk, but the other half is Q&A. So if there is something that comes up, that is another opportunity to talk with us in a week.
Great, thanks.
Yeah.
Also tomorrow is Vince's group, as I know for me.
Yes.
So yeah, so I'm gonna try, you know, catch all of those. But yeah, I have a ton of questions, but so I am right now, we could say, in a difficult circumstances and life situation. So no job, back living with my mom and my grandparents, and absolutely no money, and broke up last relationship. So all sorts of things happened, and for quite time already, I've been sort of in this searching, like how to deal with my emotions because. I always felt I'm too much emotionally and I feel like I feel so much all the time, like triggers are every day and I also think that's normal. Like I feel like that's normal. And now I've come to this, which is a huge deal for me because it's finally easier to see identification and it's not like this non-duality Advaita stuff and but I also feel like right now it's impossible for me to go deeper. I encounter a lot of like I can't when I'm reading stuff or when I'm trying the exercises or I can do exercise one time and I will get some, say, shifts or insights. But the other time when I tried, it's like my mind is in this almost competitive, I need it. And I get the pressure in my head and in my diaphragm, like here.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I can't. And then all I see is reflected back to me is I can't. It's like you see it, you can't. It's continuous. I can't. And then I'm just desperate. I just feel like, and okay, then all I know to do is so that door is currently closed. Okay, feel what is here. So I'm just I'm gonna be in this now.
Yeah.
So for me, it seems like all that I keep coming back to is this sort of natural meditation. I don't know how you call it, but just being in what is.
Yep.
Because it's like my mind sees everything as very nuanced, very complicated. Everything is big deal. Everything is overwhelming. I'm reading a book, for months because I'm just on one sentence for so long, and it's okay. So that's why I'm saying I do have questions, but at the same time, it's like things are sort of balancing themselves because when I don't know what to do and I feel desperate. I feel absolutely horrible. Like every day it's coming up, but then it's like I again don't know what to do. I'm again alone. I can be in what is, but then I feel like, well, how will I go forward if I don't read or sort of practice?
Yeah.
And then in that sort of natural meditation, I do get insights. It's beautiful, and that feels easy because finally my mind doesn't have to do something.
Exactly.
It's technical and competitive and wants. But then I'm afraid, that's not enough. And I see I'm very rational right now, and I'm not really in touch with emotions. I'm just, mental. I'm just.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
Breathe.
Breathing really helps.
I have so many things to say.
Can I just ask to start with, when you say go deeper with a practice, there's an expectation of what you're supposed to get out of it before you go into it, and I have kind of a question, and then also kind of just an admonishment about it, I guess. If we go into any practice with an expectation, especially with a judgment of, well, I got something last time, now I need to get at least that or more, we are so completely locked in the ego at that point. You're defeating any benefit that would have come from doing that practice because you're already not taking things as they are. When we do a practice, we have no idea what the outcome is going to be ever. Nothing is linear like that. Anybody with a meditation practice, can verify that some days you can meditate and it's deep and it's lovely and it's wonderful, and other days you just monkey mind, like you don't know, and it's not every day is going to be better for the rest of your life until we're just all in samadhi 24/7. It's like it's just not the way that the biological body works. And if we have that expectation about it going in to do any practice, we've already defeated ourselves before we've started. So I think I want to ask to get a little bit more clarification, like, what is your definition of deep, and what is the idea that you have for of the outcome of doing any particular practice?
Yeah, I think the idea and expectation is a memory of my last experience with that practice.
Mm.
What about on sort of a general like, why are you doing this work? What is your idea of awakening, or what you're going to get out of doing these practices?
It's like I see no value in any sort of else practices or some like I feel like I've tried it all in my life.
Yeah.
especially regarding practices and tools and therapies and also when I'm happy, it's I feel like it's not empty, but it's like something's lacking, and I know in the end that's not true. So it's just like I don't expect my life to change like circumstances, but in a way I wanted to say I want me to change.
Yeah, it's a hope of the feeling of you that is going to change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because when I come in touch with this and when I get this like a second of whoa, there's no me, it's like it's like I breathe.
Yeah.
And when I see when the perception falls, when I see it's flat,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's beautiful, it's so
Yeah.
I like it, like it's like it's so it's just like so.
Can I say something? You had a sentence where you ask yourself, how will I go forward? If I'm not doing that and I'm not meditating that way, how am I going to move forward? And that grasping that you have there is the intellectual grasping that you have done in all the other practices. In therapy and in everything, you have understood it with your mind, and then there has been a rule book, and you have followed the rules. You've been a good little girl, and you have done everything correctly. What we're talking about here is dropping all of that. Dropping all of that, just breathe, come back to your body. How does it feel right now?
Yeah.
And when you do that, you will have a new and pure and unique experience every single time. And you can never do it wrong because there's no expectations to how it should feel. Whatever is arising right now, when you sit in your car right now and you make a deep inhalation and you exhale and you feel your body, whatever you feel right now is what we want your awareness to be about. Just notice, how does it feel to be in your body right now? And you might feel that, oh, the monkey mind, I have so many thoughts about relationship not being good enough, what about my family and all of that? Okay. Can you be in a body where all of that frustration is buzzing around in your head and you just make another deep breath? You make a deep inhalation and you exhale deeply. Can you be in a body where you can feel that calm slowly happening, make you more and more heavy into your seat, and you just allow that monkey mind and all the thoughts to be there? You're not supposed to sort any of them out because it's not within your grasp. You don't have that control. So it's yes.
So that's I always come back to this, what you were describing, because it feels like the only safe place I know. Because as soon as I go into some knowledge, then there's like something to do.
Yeah.
And then I remember your like, can I be in the body that feels like this? And that's beautiful. I always come back to that. But then this comes like this last thing you said. It's like I would like to see the no agency part because it's so relieving, and then that keeps me sort of searching. Like I want to watch videos because I like.
But you're looking the wrong place. You think that you can understand this intellectually. You can't. It's just like, I really want to understand how a strawberry tastes. Explain to me how a strawberry tastes. And you can watch YouTube video after YouTube video and you will never ever get the full experience. That is what you want. It's never going to happen. Tamara, it's never going to happen. It needs to be experienced.
The irony, sorry, I was just saying the irony of looking for the sense of agency in a video when the sense of agency is what it is that is turning on that video. It's the sense of agency that is the thing that is actively seeking and clinging and going, well, maybe I should read this book. Maybe I should watch that video. That is the sense of agency that we're looking for. Instead of looking for the lack of sense of agency, we need to investigate what it is to actually have that sense of agency to begin with. And a key, super important thing here is that when we enter any of these inquiries or any sort of practice with the mindset of, I'm doing this for a purpose, I'm going to get something out of it, which means I have to get a certain type of experience out of it or else it wasn't successful and I failed. Again, that puts us in a position where it's reinforcing the ego, but it's also reinforcing that sense of agency, who could do something correct or not.
Yes.
It is absolutely reinforcing that very thing that you're looking to investigate. Instead, we come from a place of curiosity. It's just that absolutely open, curious, playful kind of perspective, which has a way of completely diffusing that sense of needing to get something out of it. You know, as a child, you probably played with things where there was no idea that, well, I'm playing with this toy to get something out of it at the end. The getting is in the enjoyment of the doing. It's like the curiosity of investigating a leaf or a bug. You would just like really get curious about it, not so that I can name it and label it and learn it and teach other people about it or any of that. It's just the pure enjoyment and curiosity of just exploring what's there. And that's what we're talking about. When you feel that sense of agency online, have that same sort of just curiosity of, what am I feeling right now, somewhere in the body, or recognizing somewhere in the mind, in one of the sense faculties, that seems to be creating this sense of the one who could do something to get some result from it. What does that feeling of pull, of urgency, of being able to do and manipulate, what does that feel like specifically? Where is it? And again, we're not analyzing it so that you can write a dissertation on it. We're analyzing it so that it's like, that is so freaking weird. Like, it's something that has been active my entire life, and I've never really stopped to just observe, what does the sense of agency actually feel like? How is that coming online? And then we just have that curious observation of the sensations in the body and of the thoughts that are there. And that starts to actually diffuse the sense of the agent, because now there's just this utter lack of grasping and this open curiosity to any part of the experience. But we also get the added benefit of the insight of starting to see the way that the illusion is built. And the only reason that these illusions have been taking us over, that the illusion of self or the illusion of craving or not wanting, the only reason that they have had any power in our lives is that they have gone under the radar so that we believe that they are real. They don't withstand the light of awareness when we actually tune into what's really there and see how that illusion is being fabricated. Then our belief in them falls away. But until we have that absolute just open curiosity towards what it is, we're continually believing it. If you do a practice to get rid of the sense of agency, it's because you believe the sense of agency is a real thing that needs to be disposed of.
I think that's
Yeah.
beautifully put, and I'll definitely, especially when I really feel the urge, I'm gonna see what's there. Yeah, and rewatch what you said.
Yeah.
um, I think what's confusing and also creating the whole circle is when I do watch something, or say your video sessions with Tonka are
Oh, yeah.
really sort of doing it for me.
Nice.
Yeah,
Amazing.
really.
Yeah. And when you go like into the observer of observing, and I absolutely loved it. And I have, you have some insights there.
Yeah.
And then there's, well, I want that to be more often.
I know.
Like I want,
It's
like,
that
well, like yeah, it's like I lose
gasping,
it.
gasping,
Not
gasping.
yeah, it's like I lost lost the whole sensory. Like I'm back in the me, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
and then I want more, and then, well, when I'm gonna listen, well, now I'm tired, now my mind is not ready, now I don't have where, and then, oh, I can't, and then and like it's again like I can choose, and I can it's not like I can choose, but yeah, sort of the sense of agency. And then it's like, because I get this illusion, I got something
Yeah.
and I want more of it. And how do I get it?
Yeah.
But it is nothing but your thoughts that are telling you, I just had it. I want more of that, but now I'm too tired. But I should inquire about that. I actually could do that, couldn't I? No, no, I can't do that. I'm way too tired to do that now. All of that is thoughts. While that is happening, your body is just here, breathing, inhaling and exhaling. The moment that you're grasping for is here. But because your headlight is only on the thoughts and the grasping, and I could, and maybe another video could do, and maybe I could have, because your headlight is on that, you completely miss what is going on in your body right now.
Yeah.
Because your bum is in your seat, the feet is on the floor, the blood is pumping out from your heart. Your inhalation is giving oxygen, and you're, detoxing with every exhale you have. That is happening all the bloody time. But your focus is on your mind. Your focus is on the thoughts and the grasping and all of that. That is just diversions. While this beautiful thing is happening right now, it's here right now.
And when you have one of those experiences where it seems like all of that is gone and everything is much better, and then you come back to this, the question is, why is this so uncomfortable? Like you said, is it just that there are thoughts here which are making problems? Were the thoughts offline in that moment of no agent or feeling of being, looking down from above or whatever the experience was? Were the thoughts that are creating all of the problems suddenly not active? And the moment that you're here, notice first of all that speaking in a 4 or 5 kind of range, there's a comparison, right? This right now is only a problem because you're comparing it to a memory of a time when things didn't feel like this.
Still in your thoughts.
Exactly. It's still just happening in the thoughts, but you're comparing back to another time and saying this is insufficient because I know it could feel different. So it's important to, again, with that open curiosity, not looking to make to demonize any part of this experience, but notice what right now is actually insufficient. Is there anything here when the mind isn't dividing it up and saying that, well, but it used to be like this and now it's like this and maybe I should? All of that is irrelevant. Come to the base experience of what is being felt here now and find, is there really anything here which is unsatisfactory? Is there anything here which is worth diverting from or not wanting to experience? And if you immediately find things like, well, there's pain in the body or there's an emotional something that I don't want to feel, then we go into those two. And that's why having that same kind of open, equanimous, curious perspective on even those emotions that might seem turbulent and, scary or uncomfortable in some way, if we get down to the base layer of sensation that makes them up, it's just as much neutral, just as much empty, and there's no mind involved to make any problem of it. And then no matter what you do, you end up back in that same space that you talked about, that same just openness where things simply are here. It's only the mind which is making something more out of it, which makes this experience, however it's showing up, in some way unsatisfactory or less satisfactory than something I can imagine or remember having experienced. So every time you feel that sense of discomfort about, I need to get out of this moment to get something else, I need more of that, find out what you're running away from right now. And instead of diverting from it into, I'm going to do another practice and try to get there, instead go completely fully into whatever the experience is here that seems to be the thing that you need to run away from. Go headfirst into the sensation that is keeping you running in one direction or another to avoid it. And you will find that through that, it's just here.
Okay.
I hope that helps. I hope did you have more that you had written down that you had wanted to?
So many things, but I think it was really good what you said.
Okay.
I think it was really good. And I think it's me adding more words too. Is just putting more into the head. I like for you to be in the body, and then on a practical level, notice when you start to have thoughts about, oh, what now, and the family, and all of that. Notice, where are you? Because you can clearly feel that you are in your head. That, okay, so wiggle your toes, getting back to your body. So can you keep those thoughts up while you wiggle your toes? You can practice that, and yeah, I can keep being stressed while I wiggle my toes. Okay, can I keep the thoughts and being stressed with deep breaths, so I really feel it all the way into my bum and all the way out? With practice, you can keep the thoughts and being in your body at the same time. So it's really that starting to open up for the body, for what is actually happening right now. Because every time you practice that, you will be more and more clear on what is delusional and in your mind and what is actually here right now. And both of them can be here at the same time, but it's just having that distinction between one thing is the real thing that is happening right now, the other thing is just thought. There is no density to a thought, there is no substantiality or anything to a thought. It's just a thought. When you don't think about when you don't have concerned thoughts about your family, where are they? They're nowhere, because it only what happens to a thought when you don't think it. It's nowhere, because that is how illusory and see-through that a thought actually is. It's nothing. So the more you practice coming back to your body and feeling your body, the the more you will practice being in the now. And I think that will start to giving, when you have that feeling of being too much and being like, yeah, all of that. You said you had a sentence that I could talk half an hour about. where where you said something about that it's normal to have all of those emotions and all have all of that, where I thought, what is normal? I mean, it's quite remarkable that what normal means. None of us know what that means, but what normal means. So really, every time you judge yourself in any way, question that. What just made you God, so something? What just, you know, happened, so you have more knowledge about, I'm too much. Are you sure about that? How do you know that? What are you comparing to when you pass a judgment on yourself, on you being too much or you being inadequate? How do you know that? What are you comparing to? Because you will find that what you're comparing to is just another thought. So you have two thoughts that are opposite one another, and they are fighting now. It's like two AIs having a discussion or a debate. None of it is real. None of it is real. And why those two, you're too much and you're not enough, are arguing with one another, your bum is in the seat and your breath is happening and your breath is happening and your heart is beating and all of that is happening while those two AIs are arguing. So really keep coming back to your body. Keep coming back to what is actually arising right now.
Okay, I'll definitely come back with questions, I suppose, another month. I hope.
Yes.
I hope.
Yeah, or on Sunday, if you can be here on Sunday.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a POK on Sunday. So you can practice this now until Sunday, and then come and talk with us, and we take it from there.
Can I wrap it up for me? So basically you're saying it's enough. Like what the experience that's here is enough, and like what Todd said, what is making me go search for more? And even though that might be true, like it is true that this entity here didn't realize itself, but still, nevertheless, to not go search for it, but see what's here, and here what's all the way here in the experience that's wanting it to go and search. And I suppose that opening a video or reading a book will anyway happen. It's just
inevitably.
Yeah, it's just
Probably.
that, yeah, it's just that some moments when I feel the it's not enough, and while I'd actually like to just be in the body, but it's like, oh, you should be reading, you should be listening now, to see what's causing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong inherently with reading books and watching videos. It's just that you
It's the
only get
why you're doing it.
exactly, and you're only going to get, there we might hear something for the first time that really resonates and it triggers something in us, and that's wonderful. But we can't be on the constant, it's like a drug addict constantly seeking for that high again, and you lose it. The more you get, you use the same drug, the more your tolerance goes up, and so you need something stronger and stronger and stronger to try to get that hit that you're looking for. And it can be the same way with this stuff, where you have like you read something for the first time and it's like, oh, and you really get that experience. But then that experience is just a peak. What's really important about everything that we do, sorry, isn't about the way that it feels or the sort of peak experience of the moment, right? It's about the the insight that we get from it that tends to deepen and change our behavior and the patterns of thought and things like that going forward. That doesn't happen just because of the intensity of one particular peak experience. If that was the case, people could just do psychedelics or whatever, and they would have these crazy blown out experiences, and then they'd just
you're
be
awake.
enlightened. Like,
Yeah.
but it doesn't work that way. You might glean something from that sometimes, but the whole point is that when you have that experience, notice what has changed in that moment to when you go back to just normal being. There's a comparison that's happening, right? And the experience of being awake that you're talking about, or that experience of being present, or however you experience it, it's not that it's some elusive secondary state that you have to, ingest ayahuasca or something to get to. It is the way that the experience is all the time when the mind isn't actively doing something else to make that self appear on top of it. So that's why, yeah, you can find all sorts of pointers there, and you can learn all sorts of practices, and you can do all sorts of practices, and there's nothing wrong with any of that. But noticing that so much of the thing which you are looking for, okay, that sentence came out weird, that the thing that you're looking for is being mostly covered up by that activity of trying to seek.
Yeah.
Like that is the problem. And I'm not to is not to say that, okay, so then I just give up seeking and I just sit around and watch TV and veg and go back, and then I'm just going to be, you might still be caught up in thoughts in other ways. It's not just the seeking energy that for awakening that causes it. It's all the seeking that we do in our life. It's all the judging and all of the wanting this and not liking that, and all of that push and pull that we're constantly doing, all of that self-created thought is what leads us into suffering in our daily life. And so all we're saying is, taking it down out of the mystical and into the right now, the thing which is keeping you from that feeling of openness is all of the thoughts which are pushing and pulling and creating the self that is here. None of it's real. It's just activity of the mind.
Yeah.
So one quick fire way of getting back to that, which is here underneath the mind, is to basically short circuit that mind, right? And we do that by putting the attention on whatever it is that the mind was trying to distract us from. And the more we can just be with what is here in the body, feel the senses, go deeply, deeply, deeply into those senses, it helps to turn off that selfing mechanism in the mind that is creating something else out of it. But it's not a one and done kind of thing. It's not that once you experience it, it's always going to be that way. These are patterns of mental behavior. You know, we have these neural pathways that run again and again in certain ways. The more we do this, the more likely you are to be able to just drop back into that kind of open presence or that feeling of peace and contentment and all that, because that is now being entrained in the brain. It's another pathway that's open. And the more we do it, the more likely we are to be there. Just like the more we are constantly looking around us trying to fix and get and all of that, the more likely you are to find that you are looking around trying to fix and get and all of that, because those are the pathways that are being strengthened. So it's really, instead of being upset that I had it and now I've lost it and it's gone, it's that we're continually nourishing that ability to just be able to, or nurturing that ability to come back to it at different times, not by seeking and struggling, but just by relaxing and being present and looking in, feeling into our direct experience to where it just comes out. And the more we do that, it's a very gentle path to allowing that to unfold more and more frequently without having to strive and get and use the intellect to try to, just find that one thing that's going to do it. It's not.
No, but I would also say that the only difference between a person that's awake and a person that is not awake, because all of us have a body, right? All of us have thoughts. The only difference is that a person that is awake do not believe in the thoughts anymore. It's just thoughts. It's just thoughts. No matter what somebody says to you, you don't get aggravated and angry because they haven't said anything true. It's just a thought. And whatever feeling you have in you about what they say, it's just another thought. If you don't believe in that anymore, if you know that that is just mental formations, is not something you can believe in or lean on or anything, it's just a bloody thought. That when that drops, there is just that, yeah, calm, like you said that you had experienced that calmness left. Like when you do the just sitting meditation and you just sit, that's it. That's awakening. And it's super easy to achieve when you are living in a monastery and everything's provided for you and you're sitting on a mountaintop and not engaging with social media or anything else and everything's provided for. Super, super easy. But living a life like we are, where we're engaging with social media and politicians and taxes and road rage and all of that, that is where the real practice comes, but there's no difference. It's still the same premise that all of the thoughts that happen in you are lies. Every single one is a lie. You cannot trust any of it because none of it is real.
Thank you for bringing back, because I forgot I was going towards the insight part. So thank you for bringing back to the insight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're so
Thank
welcome.
you.
You're so
So
And
welcome.
thank you for all your time, all the time that you gave me here. I really felt like I can tell whatever I want back and forth and back and forth, and
Absolutely.
that's beautiful. Yeah.
We're happy.
Absolutely.
We're happy to be able to do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hope to see you
Hope
Sunday.
to see you Sunday.
Yeah, me too. Me too. If it's Croatia time.
Yeah, it's pretty early. Well, I mean, not for you, but it's earlier than this. It's
It's 11, isn't it?
yeah, I think it's an hour earlier than this started.
Okay, that will work. Yeah. Okay.
Amazing.
Oh, you're in Croatia.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. It's such a beautiful country.
Yeah, it is. I love it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, except the standard and the money stuff, but the nature and the country.
Yeah.
We're lucky here, and it's safe country, so that's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and hope to
Thank
see
you.
you Sunday.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
well. Okay, bye.
Take
Okay,
care.
bye.
Bye. And next
There's
up,
Susanna.
we've got Susanna. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
How are
It's good to
you?
see you guys. Good.
Buzz.
Good. Thank you. Um, I hope this makes sense. I have done a lot of awakening work. I've been on the path for about 4 or 5 years. I've done a lot of direct inquiry.
Mm.
Um, but recently, I would say within the last 4 or 5 months, working really Fetter one, I many times I feel like I've already broken through the gateless gate.
Mm.
But when I do the direct inquiry, like I will ask, well, who's thinking that? Who feels that? And what seems to happen is all of a sudden everything's at zero distance.
Mm.
And it's like this part when you're doing the headless that
Yeah.
you're here. And there's never an answer. It's always like everything. Like I have these signs in my house that says, Susanna, don't be delusional. And it it it's sort of like everything is gone. There is no Susanna,
Mhm.
and there never has been a Susanna. So it's like walking into a house, like you say, hey, I'm home, waiting to hear, if someone's going to reply, and no one does.
Yeah.
And I feel like in a way that's bypassing. I'm not answering the question.
Are you?
I want to say that I really get that, because when you enter a house and you say, hello, I'm here, you're waiting for a reply. So you're waiting, there's still the assumption of something that can reply, someone that
Right,
can reply. So you're still looking for something that is not there as if it is. You're placing something there which is not there. There is not
right,
a self that can fall because the self was never there.
right. Yeah, and I feel like that. I feel the truth. It feels. Actually, there's no feeling. It is just existence.
Mm.
It is zero distance.
Yeah.
Everything is reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like recently, I had to go back to work after being out sick for months, and it felt like I'm going back to a prison.
Mm.
Like I have to go to work.
I'm
And once
sorry.
I go to work, it's 5 days a week. And, that whole thing. And I asked, okay, so who feels that way?
Yeah.
And I went to the whole zero distance thing, everything fell away. And I had no issue going back to work.
Mm.
It was, there's no problem
It
here.
was just thoughts about it. That was the problem.
Yeah,
And when the thoughts
exactly.
drop, there's no problem.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
it's funny. The reason I'm bringing this up is I have a friend who I've done direct inquiry with, and he said you always have to answer it. You have to like ground yourself and answer who is it
What,
that is.
what tradition is he from? Like,
I
because
think he's doing like the non-duality stuff from hold on, my mind doesn't work the way it used to. The Greg Good kind of non-duality, like
okay,
the kind of
Yeah.
newer.
Greg Good.
He does the direct experience. Everything's a direct experience.
The I
Go
think
ahead.
I'm not super familiar with Greg Good, but I think if I remember right, does he use the kind of because I've seen something of his, and I might also be mixing partly up him and somebody else, but the I mean, the awakening world is a very diverse place you've probably
Yes.
encountered, and
Oh, yes.
in some of the traditions, when we use the question of like who is here, who am I, that sort of thing, they're trying to get to that kind of feeling of awareness or presence or
Mhm.
whatever.
Right.
And the problem in kind of the Buddhist term, way of looking at that, or the way that we work, is that that itself is just another sort of
Another,
groundless
yeah.
identification.
Yeah.
You're
Yep, I
still an
agree.
assumption, right? So
Hmm.
for us, when we do that kind of inquiry, the idea or the point of it is to not get an answer. The point is to
Oh,
have the experience that you had. The
okay.
lack of finding that identification is itself the answer that you're looking for. It's not that there really is a self in there that you're now, ooh, there I am, I found it. It's really to have the experience of, hold on, what I thought was a self, I can
Hmm.
find maybe where, like I was saying to tomorrow, what it was that was fabricating that sense of self. And then that might fall apart, or you just have like what you experienced, where it's just like zero distance. This is just everything
Hmm.
right here. Well, that leaves the answer is that there is nothing that you once thought to be a self that can be found in that way. And
Right.
that is where you rest. That is the thing. In certain traditions, you are looking for that.
And also an advisor, you're looking
Exactly.
back for that awareness, that big I am, and you're looking back for
Hmm.
that. But like Todd says, what we're doing is noticing that even that is something out of nothing.
Yeah.
So
Yes, I agree.
so yeah, so when you work with the Buddhist tradition and the way that we work, like Todd said, you will end up with silence.
Yeah.
There's nothing more
Okay.
because any pointing to something is something out of nothing.
Right. Yes, I agree. It, it was about a year ago when I was doing some self-inquiry and um that I saw that there's something beyond awareness. Like awareness was just another overlay. It
Mhm.
Exactly.
was
Yeah.
another, it is a descriptor. It
Yeah.
is, but it's still another delusion on top of, everything. And I
Yeah.
guess where I'm trying to get to the wordless, to the
Exactly.
direct, to the direct experience. And
But
so, go ahead.
But yeah, but what you experienced with not wanting to go back to work, and then you just dropped all thoughts about it, and saw that there was not me going back to work. There was a movement with getting up in the morning, and there's a like reboot, brushing your teeth and a reboot, and going to the car and reboot, and going to your job and reboot. So, and in that, there cannot be any issue with any of it because there is a
Yeah,
constant rebooting the experience, and what even though you have brushed your teeth many times over many decades, it's still a new experience right now. And it's
right,
only when we create something out of nothing that we can have an issue with anything, because
right,
in and out of its own, it's absolutely neutral. Everything is absolutely neutral. It's just an experience arising, and there is no opinions about it, and there cannot be any, oh, I don't want to, or anything. I I just want to have a little bracket saying that if if we are in any way in a toxic relationship or having a toxic job or anything like that, like we talked with um
Michelle.
So,
Michelle about, yeah, that there's that, that toxicity where we can feel that things are breaking when I'm doing this, then
Hmm.
this can be a very convenient bypassing, which we do not want you to
mm,
do.
yeah.
If you're
Right,
in a toxic relationship and you have a very clear feeling this is not good, it's not good. Trust that. Get out.
right.
If you have a job where you feel I'm selling my soul, get out.
Hmm.
Because it's not a good place to be. But and you can bypass yourself into a very, horrible life.
Mm,
And
Right.
it's not what we're talking about. You really
Yeah,
to have your due diligence always about the situations that you're in. I just wanted to
yeah.
make sure that everybody knows that.
absolutely.
I think my aversion going back to work wasn't about the job itself. It was the uh, feeling of not being completely well,
Mm,
having to work while I'm still recovering from this illness.
Yeah.
mm,
And so it was more of a body prison
Yeah.
than it was a work prison,
Yeah.
if
yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry that that situation here in the States is like that you cannot take
Yeah.
the time that you actually need. I'm really sorry.
Hmm.
But and
Yeah.
well done you for noticing that, okay, sweet buddy, we're not ready to go to work. We have to because otherwise, this is
Yes.
the country
Right.
we live in.
Yeah.
So we have to. I'm now with lots of love and compassion and care taking you to work. And then
Yes.
work in the way that you can. Yeah.
Yeah, I have been really taking long breaks, and it has been unrepentant too. It's like, hey, this is what I need,
Yeah.
so this is what I'm doing. And before, and I'm talking like 5 years before I started doing work, was it would, a wringing of the hands.
Yeah.
What are they going to think of me?
Yeah.
I can't do this kind of thing. But
Yeah.
um, well, it's good to know that when you're asking the direct questions. I remember my friend also said, you really need to try to be present in your body. And my body's just not there most of the time. So, I mean, even with the illnesses and everything, being in the hospital so many times, even in the hospital, my body wasn't there most of the time. I don't
Yeah,
know if
I
it's
get alarm
bypassing or
bells.
not.
Yeah, no, I get alarm bells with that. I get alarm
Yeah,
bells with
see,
that
yeah,
because having a body that is sick is a situation where we need lots of compassion towards the body because the body is
yeah,
trying to rejuvenate and recover from something, and the body is really amazing at constantly healing itself in every situation, and we need to create the best scenario possible for the body. But to do that, we need to be very in tuned with our body. So you
hmm
really can feel, oh, you need a rest. Okay, I'm just gonna rest. Oh, you need, water. I'm just gonna
right,
feed you. Oh, you need to exercise. We're just going for a walk. So it's really it's like having a very needy pet that is not even
yeah,
asking clearly about what it wants.
yes. Well, I've done body bypassing my whole life because I
Yeah,
was sexually assaulted by family members at 6, and so growing up in a very um, that type of atmosphere where you had to disassociate to survive.
yeah,
So you disassociate from your body, and
yeah,
so it's funny because I have a lot of pain, and I do a
yeah,
lot of Todd's, his work on pain. And going into the body, used to feel very uncomfortable,
yeah.
but it doesn't feel that way anymore.
Well, it
Good.
I
isn't.
just feel like I, I just don't feel my body most of the time.
Do you have,
I didn't,
well, I'm just curious to kind of pinpoint a little bit. Do you have sensation in general, or is it that, oh, thank you, Leela. Sorry, she has to leave. Um, uh, do you have sensation in the body? Is it just not being combined with that sort of mental overlay of a map of a body looking a certain way that makes it seem like, okay, well, that's my leg over there, my arm over here. Do you still have sensation? Or,
yes, I do. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I experience like I have to pee right now.
yep.
I definitely feel that. So,
Okay, good.
Yeah.
yeah, but it's not an association with the body. I don't know.
No, I
Yeah.
would recommend you to consider purchasing the mind body integration workshop that we did. Because
Okay.
in that we talk about the different ages where muscle, ligament, tendons, and fascias are built, and our entire nervous system is built. And when you experience a trauma like that when you were 6, I sense in what you said that it was not only when you were 6, there was also
Oh
stuff
no. Oh
previously,
yeah.
not necessarily sexual, but like other stuff previously. And that has created a nervous system and created a body alertness in you that has not changed over, the last 40 years. And
Yes.
the Mind Body Integration Workshop is working with that
Okay.
because you cannot address that consciously. It needs to be
hmm
allowing the body to experience and express subconsciously. And
hmm
that is different exercises that we're giving you, and I'm walking you through everything. It's a really,
Okay.
really good workshop. That is yeah, it's really, really potent, and I can warmly recommend it to anybody that has any type of body issue or pain or anything like that, because we're addressing all that in it.
I think that's a missing link for me, to be
Yeah,
honest with you.
yeah,
The body,
yeah. The mind body
connecting with
integration
this
of it.
body.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
yeah,
I think that's good. Thank you for recommending that because
yeah,
I definitely will.
yeah,
It's it, it it's something that, again, because the awakening world is such a spectrum, There are some teachings that really emphasize the illusory nature of the body and that it doesn't exist and that but we really have to be careful that we're not just falling in that trap as being the ultimate either. There is a reality. Like right now you have to pee. Like there is a
Yep.
reality that there's a body
Yep.
here that needs certain things, that has certain experiences. And so we want to have that balance of it's not just the biological entity that we thought it was. I can also experience that all of a sudden it feels like it's dissolved and it feels like it's much more spacious and open and I can't find the boundaries and everything is part of the same flow and wow. But also that there is still a biological entity that also needs, care and
Yeah.
all of that. So it is finding that middle way between the two where both are exist and both are not fully, the case. And
Yeah.
so this is working with it so that you can have that experience, but of really recognizing that the map doesn't quite fit the experience of the body, however it's showing up. There's a truth to that, but also there are things that we can do that have such deeper roots into the sort of mind body psychology, biology of this whole organism that leads us into certain types of identification and selfing and certain wanting and not wanting and behaviors like that and patterns of thinking, which we talk about a lot because it does tie in with the physiology of the body itself.
Yeah.
So,
That makes sense. Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank
Thank you
you.
both.
Thank you.
Amazing.
And you can find all the information about the mind body integration workshop on our homepage.
On the website.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
theawakeningcurriculum.com.
Yeah, and
You have
it's
all the information.
under past retreats, I think
Yeah.
it's called.
Okay.
Tab,
Okay.
something like that.
Cool. I'll
Yeah.
find it and
Yeah.
I'll see you guys on Sunday too.
Thank
Oh,
you so
looking
much.
forward to that.
Looking forward to
Thank
that.
Yeah.
you.
Good.
Good seeing
Thanks.
you.
Good seeing you.
You too.
Yeah, Susanna.
Hello,
Hi,
Susan.
Susan.
So good to see you.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm so happy to be here. Can you hear me?
Hmm?
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I'm gonna switch my.
Actually, while you're switching, I'll be right back. Just gonna
Okay.
take it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just gonna see if I can find the link. Oh, I'm on Todd's computer. Oh goodness.
I'm a huge fan of the mind-body integration retreat, so I'm
Oh, thank you so
saying
much.
yes on that. That was amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I do really recommend it to so many people because it's, let me see here. Could be. No, it's not that. Okay, I'm giving up. This is Todd's computer. I'm a Mac.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm gonna do
No,
business
I'm giving
first.
up. I'm giving up. So
well, I'm going to do business first. I was so glad, Pernilla, you said something about the donations because we had a small subgroup when we realized at the retreat that in Todd and Pernilla's generosity, they're making, I could quickly do the math. I used to be a CFO, that they're making far less than minimum wage an hour. And so we had a conversation about, is this how you're supporting yourself? And they were like, yes, but we wanted to be available. So I'm just putting a word out for the donations that, of course, some people aren't going to be able to. So maybe some of us who can,
Thank you
it's
so
so
much.
generous of them to make this, their hearts want to make it available for everyone, but then there's kind of, I think, a little bit of a community responsibility to,
Oh.
for those of us who can, to give back. So, and the other thing we talked about in that subgroup, because we asked to meet as a group to discuss it, was to give through the PayPal account, not through YouTube, because YouTube takes like 40%. So
Yeah. Yeah.
the regular PayPal. And I felt since last session, Todd, you emailed me afterward, and I've been wanting to say, I'm sorry I didn't speak up last session because we had said we'd do it so you didn't have to. And then the other thing is, I've been wanting to say I love you two individually and I love you together. It's just
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
and I just been so looking forward to this. And thank you to everyone who's sharing. It's just so fascinating that I just love this group, and I just hope we can continue it.
Yeah.
And it's so fascinating because everyone's in different spaces and everyone asks questions I wouldn't even think to ask. So thank you to
That's
all of
awesome.
that.
Thank you.
And then I just have another business question before I get to a personal question. Where do we like the PK stuff? Like, where are you listing all that stuff? Where's this stuff listed? And
Oh,
where are these
yeah.
groups listed?
Yeah,
that's a good
the
question.
POK is not listed anywhere because it's a very private group.
Oh, right.
But you can write to Patty Levin and she forwards you the link to the Zoom meeting.
I do have it mentioned on Discord.
We have it on Discord
Yeah.
under official announcements.
Yep.
You have the email and you have the link for the POK.
Yep.
So it is
Okay.
Discord under official announcements.
Yeah, that's
And where are these groups listed?
These
On-
that's a solid
the
question.
link for them, the link for participation, which you know because you're already here, is on Discord under official announcement. But the video recording is on Unfettered Mindfulness
on the playlist.
Yeah.
on the
playlist,
YouTube
but-
channel.
Yeah, but yeah, it's true. We don't have that on the website, do we?
No,
I don't think so.
no, we
We should really, yeah.
Oh, we had actually. I have been sitting. Yeah. But I have made that on
that's
live.
Okay, we should
I
probably
can make that live
actually-
again.
Yeah, we should set that up.
Our next group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it will be on the homepage then because I
And when is
I did
yeah,
make a
you
page
used to
with
have it.
I did make a page with all Q&As and all of these groups together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Because for me, I'm so untech savvy. I open Discord, I'm so overwhelmed. I just
Yeah.
can't. I just close it. So
yeah.
I'm more of a website. And so when is the next one of this group?
The
What's the
29th,
date?
the 29th of July. We have five
Okay, great.
Tuesdays in July, so we get 2 of them this month.
Ah, great.
Yeah, it's just a habit anyway.
Because that's how I get my intel. You mentioned it this time. So thank you so much to both of you. I'm just so grateful.
Thank you.
And I guess what I would say is I've been really sitting with vulnerability because I just had this thing trigger it, which was around the manuscript. I still haven't heard back, but I'll let you two know as soon as I hear either way. Well, that's natural. That's natural. I learned.
That's been a month
So-
though. That's
Well, it's been like 5 weeks, but they said a friend and I talked to my writing mentor who's published a ton. She said, "Oh my God, it can be more than 3. I mean, like you're not even supposed to contact them back for 3 months because well, yeah, and it's publishing is just traditionally slow. So for everyone else, I wrote this book manuscript and this superstar publisher who I would just die. I mean, I would love to work with, asked for it. And so it's sitting with her. And I, for some reason, thought I'd hear back right away. So I was like on pins and needles. And then people were like, no, this is. And I heard her interviewed, and she said if she's interested, she reads it, she gives it to her partner, and they give it to their movie partner. So, like she said, it's like a whole. But publishing, it's just very, very slow. It's famously slow. So it could be months of this. So I thought, okay. But I think I know it's intense. And then because I just gave it to her because she requested it, I don't usually you send it out. The agent sends it out to like, maybe 6 people. So I'm just waiting on this one. It's like waiting for a man to be like, "Oh, do you love me?" And it's very vulnerable because the manuscript's a memoir and it's very personal. I mean, like if you like that book, you'd like me, and if you don't like that book, you don't like me. And of course, they can choose to publish or not for many reasons. It's not that, but it's so personal, and I'm such a huge admirer of this publisher, right? So it's very. It's not like I don't know who she is. I'm like, she'd be my number one choice. So, so all this vulnerabilities come up. And what I feel like is that I just have so rarely let myself feel vulnerable. And so I feel like it's really, there's this huge reservoir of vulnerability that's just coming up, which is beautiful. But I wonder if you want to, sorry, my beloved gardener who I treasure is out here, so he's loud, but I was wondering if you'd want to just speak about vulnerability, because my sense is that maybe that's under everything, is this feeling of vulnerability, and all these patterns are maybe not to feel it or something.
Yeah, it's funny that we in our society deem vulnerability as being something connected with being weak, where it's actually the opposite. anything that is rigid is weak. A tree that is like that will break in a storm, where a bamboo will just, go like that. And being vulnerable is more like that bamboo than it is being rigid. If you have built walls around you so you do not feel anything, do you see how vulnerable that actually is? Where if you instead have no walls around you and you're just open to anything that can happen, but you have that solidity in you, that makes you stronger. But we tend to deem that as being vulnerable, which is so bizarre.
Yeah,
Do I need to clarify that?
Yeah, and also,
Yeah.
Todd, I have one more quick business thing that, sorry, I forgot. I also noticed on the website just a minute ago, you have something that's like we can donate $35 a month or something like that. Do you just want to say something really quick about that? Sorry, I want to get all the business out of the
I
way.
think it's Patreon.
I was gonna say, was that for Patreon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a Patreon. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We have a Patreon, and it's basically for people that would like to support us with $25 a month. We post things in Patreon that is not posted anywhere else. So it's like
And-
it's things shorts that come out earlier on Patreon than on YouTube. It's talks that we have with one another when we're out for a walk. So it's like more stuff like that that is on Patreon than anywhere else. So it's for people that would like to support us. That is not really that, how can I say that? Interested in getting a lot of stuff. It's more like you want to support us, and then you are part of Patreon. You do get videos before anybody else, and you do get like private recordings and photos and stuff like that in Patreon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So it's more for people that are really in the inner circle. I would want to say.
I was thinking it's really about wanting to support you because you've given us so much for free. So I don't think I'll ever sign up for Patreon, but I will sign up for that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's
thank
so
you.
sweet. Thank you.
So
Well, back to you being
back to
vulnerable.
vulnerability.
Yes.
So, well, okay. My question is, with vulnerability, we usually talk about it in terms of there's a danger involved with it. If we're being vulnerable, it means we are vulnerable to attack of some sort. We're vulnerable, we're like susceptible to disease or illness or death or something like that. So in the way that you talked about it, there is that kind of flexibility of being open and not rigid, which is wonderful. But I'm curious, for you in your experience, what feels dangerous about it, about that vulnerability?
I think part of it is I want this so badly, and I don't want to be rejected.
Mhm.
And I just feel this like sense of like this, like my energy feels like not, like Camilla was saying, my survival pattern is confidence. So I'm used to be like, okay, I'm gonna take care of this, I'm gonna do this, da, 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 and I'm just sitting here waiting, and it just feels like, does she love me? I really feel like it's like that. Like, oh my gosh, am I acceptable? And it just feels like I can't do anything to control it, which of course we know from this work we can't do anything to control anything, but it's really in my face,
Right. And the problem is that when you're looking for, am I lovable? Am I acceptable? All of that, if you need that to be defined by somebody else, that is your core vulnerability, right? You are vulnerable as long as there is something in you that needs to be defined or accepted by somebody else.
And I'm going to say one more thing.
Yeah.
One of my survival patterns is I'm very good at action. Like if I'm anxious, I take action and then I calm down. Like it's just, and so here I can't take action. It's considered rude if I say, "Hey, how's it going?" Like that's like people are like, do not do that because you don't want to seem high maintenance, and this is how it goes.
But it also seems a bit like that action is a diversion, because to me you're messing things a little bit up when you have that does she love me? Because she can love you and reject the book.
Yes,
or she
exactly.
can
I
hate
know
you
that.
and accept the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. And then the part about you equate the book to you
Yeah.
not be rejected.
Yeah.
And that is you not being rejected and the book not being rejected. Do you see that the book can be rejected and you're not? And do
I
you see that
do.
you can be rejected and the book is accepted? It's not the
Well, I
same
didn't see
thing.
that second part, but I do know intellectually, but it just doesn't feel like. I mean, I know that intellectually.
Yeah.
I hadn't put the second one together that she could not like me and still accept the book. But I was like, no, that's not true. This isn't true. But I'm just saying it feels like I feel that vulnerability of that being true. Not that it is true. Does that
Well,
make sense?
yeah, yeah, because I think as long as you have any of that inner need for the acceptance and the validation from somebody
Yeah.
else, you are susceptible to using whatever metaphor is relevant at this moment. It might be that the book is a suitable metaphor for bringing this to your attention because it's personal, because it's a memoir. Now, it's not to say you might have had the same experience if it was not a memoir. It was just a textbook for something that you wrote. You might
Sure.
still associate that sense of, yes, but I wrote it. And so it's still something personal. And if they reject it, they rejected it's like, if we put,
Yeah.
I can say this even from personal experience.
Yeah, you
I
wrote the
went,
book.
no, because I'm thinking like I went to school for music, and
Mm.
I got a degree in composition, and for years I did not want to share with anybody the stuff that I wrote because it felt like there's an expectation that if I think that this is good enough that I make it and I'm sharing it with somebody else, that says something about me and my judgments and my um like what's the word that I'm looking for? That like, if they think that it's really terrible and I think that it's great, they're going to judge me and my level what's the word
Is
that I'm
this
looking
is
for?
this really the best you can do?
Well,
Is this
that and also what's the word that I'm looking for? Like your opinion is, it turns out you just have a terrible, judgment for what's good and bad. I don't know why the word isn't coming to me, but it's like, it sets you up that like, or I felt like it was setting me up that like if I put this out, it's saying like, yes, this is the best that I can do, and clearly if they don't like it, then they're judging me for that. But also it's like, wait, you got a degree and this is the best that you can do. And so there's some expectation involved in that. And if I put something out, then it was like, you clearly have no idea what decent music sounds like if you think that's, okay.
Yeah.
And so all of that, there was like so much selfing involved with that because it was putting so much on the music that was like personal. It was like, it says something about me that I
Yeah.
would make this and I like this and think this is
Yeah.
worthy of putting out.
Yeah.
And all of that was connected to it.
Yeah.
So I hear all of that in what you're saying about the book.
Yeah.
But the core of it is that it comes back to that internal vulnerability where if I had just been, yeah, I make weird music and I'm cool with that. And I like it. I know you don't like it. I'm fine. There would have been no vulnerability there. But there was the attachment of that I wasn't okay in myself and I needed them to support and be like, yeah, you're okay. The music that you make is okay, or the music that you make is amazing, which means I think you're amazing by proxy.
okay.
It's having that kind of need for it to say something more about me that is the core vulnerability there. That's the kind of weakness in the armor because now I am at the mercy of somebody else either liking or
Yeah.
disapproving of me, and I don't know if I can handle that. So you need to be solid in you that this book is amazing. I wouldn't have put it out if I didn't think that it was. I think I'm amazing. I wouldn't have put myself out if, like, this is like, can you accept every facet of how Susan is at this moment and have anything that comes out in the memoir that is just, this momentary reflection of whatever Susan is at this moment. And can you be completely okay with how that is so that it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about that or you?
But also have that this is the best.
Yeah.
It cannot be any better. Another person, Henry Miller, might read your books,
Yeah.
still alive,
If he was
might
still alive.
read your books and go like, oh dang,
Yeah.
But this is as good
Yeah.
as you can make it.
Yeah.
As this is your music,
Yeah.
and this is as good as it gets.
Yeah.
One can do what you did with your books, like rewriting over 30 years and keep tweaking and updating and updating. But there's something to be said about having that line in the sand. This is it. This is my memoirs, 2025. Here you go. As good as it gets.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better. This is it. This is the creme of what I can produce. There we go.
That's interesting because there's this thing that happens where, yeah, you don't want to submit it because you're like, I'm sure I could do it better. And then what happened was I had this extraordinary opportunity, and these people who have been this huge support and will support the book once it comes out with this huge mailing list, they were like, no, do it now. And so I was like, they've been so supportive. So I was like, okay. But it's like, yeah, you don't want to let it go because you're like, I'm sure I can do it better. I'm sure I can get better. I'm sure there's going to be one more round. And it's like, and I probably wouldn't have submitted it, but they were like, do it now. And their support has been so huge that I was like, okay. Yeah, but it is this, yeah.
So do you feel that you have given the book in or the manuscript in too soon?
No, I feel like it needs, I'd like it to have one more round of editing, but I'd like it to be from the publisher because, and this woman is also, she's well known for being a great publisher and a great editor. So I would just, because I felt like I wanted my editor to go one more round, and she was like, no. And then, and I love her, and she's retired from editing. And I talked to her yesterday, and she said, I'll make the exception for you for your next project. She's like, so it was so we have this really good relationship. But she was like, no, and then so I really want this woman also as an editor because I do feel like,
but then it is
a memoirs. Yeah, it's like you're saying, I have to be like, it's the best I could do. And if she doesn't want it, I have opportunities. There's plenty of others. It's not, I think it's just, maybe it goes back to, what is it, the fourth Fetter or the fifth Fetter, whichever one is like, God, I want to work with this woman. I'm such an admirer. And it's this very sexist field with all these men that run all these publishing. It's two women. They've been working together for decades. They've published all these books I deeply, deeply admire. So it's like, it's such a deep want for me, specifically with them. And I think that trips me up, because and who knows, maybe they wouldn't be the best publishers for me.
Yeah, you never know.
Exactly. And that was the other part that I think is important for you to be aware of as well, is the part about expectations. What is your expectations about her? Because you absolutely loving her might not be a good fit. You and her might not be a good fit. You might be amazing friends and turn out to be amazing friends, but her as an editor, it doesn't work at all. So it's like that there's like a level of expectations that is creating a very, very small solution that is very, very narrow, and that is not really opening up to a rejection or an acceptance being in a way that you do not imagine it to be, because the door is so narrow. It can only she loves you, she loves the book, it gets published and everything is just perfect, and it's like it's so narrow. So really be aware of your expectations. So partly the part about a rejection of the book, is that really a rejection of you? And acceptance of the book, is that really an acceptance of you? That's one thing. The other thing is the part about expectations. Really notice what have you placed in as a scenario? Because if I ask you, so what do you think is going to happen? You already have a full story ready about what is going to happen. Absolutely, absolutely. And the problem with that is that in that you have closed the doors to opportunities that you're not even aware of is there. because you're not there yet. You know, you're not crossing that bridge yet. You won't know until that happens, you know. So right now, with the insight that you don't have all the information. In 10 years,
Correct.
you have all the information. But right now, you don't have all the information. So you believe in that she's the best and it will be the best and all of that.
Yeah.
It's just your expectations. It's not reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
It might be. It might be that your expectations are exactly how everything is going to pan out. But it's just always healthy to explore, becoming aware of where is my expectations lying.
Yeah, and I think I did this research when I had this opportunity with her. I thought, well, who is she? And then like I spoke with this writer I love, and he's published with all these different people. He said she's the very best. She's the very best editor, the very best publisher. He's published, and so I was like, the more I've learned about her, the more I've hung on, and the more I've seen her interviewed, the more I've been like, oh my God, I so admire her. And so I've just gotten narrower and narrower and narrower in my research because I was like, do I want to take this opportunity or do I want to go through the the traditional process?
Yeah.
And then it was, so I've made it a trap. Like I did my
Yeah.
research and I made it a trap
I'm
because
I'm all about research, and I'm very much the same. You know, I'm researching every single thing, and then I pick one thing which obviously is the right thing, and then I go with that. And it's, you know, but it's just to be open, just to be
yeah,
open that
yeah,
even though
yeah,
we have researched and that is the right decision and that is the right thing to
yeah,
go, still be humble to
yeah,
not having all the information.
yeah,
If you're 2 years old and I ask you, do you want $100 or do you want an ice cream? You will say the ice cream because you don't have all the information. And right
yeah.
now, you don't have all the information.
I don't.
So with the limited view that we have right now, you can research and research and research. And I'm all for that. But just
Yeah,
that even no matter how much you research, you still don't have all the information. You
yeah.
be in that 10 fetter ambiguity.
It's so much about control, isn't it? I mean,
Sorry. Sorry.
it's so much about false control too, right? Like I'm like, oh, this is right. I've researched and now it's like I'm in my little
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And
thank you.
there's something to be said about researching. And I mean, I can talk
Yeah.
all day about the advantages of research because I'm absolutely in the same boat. I will research everything. Ask me, you know, do you want a new bike? I would research everything to find the best bike, you know? So I'm all for that, but just be aware that still with all the research, you don't have all the information. You don't know how everything looks in 10 years.
No,
It
of
is both
course I
right.
don't.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just keep being humble and keep being in what's called ambiguous.
Ambiguity.
Yeah,
That's the
keep
word.
being in that ambiguity that
Yeah.
that you do not know. You do not know. You have a very limited knowledge right now that makes you think
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And also I was thinking, gosh, maybe it's just this holds it for 3 months and she says no, and then the next opportunity opens up and I needed that I mean,
Yeah.
because publishing's always changing. I thought, I don't know, I think I just want to step back and have faith. It was so amazing. I had the opportunity just to send it directly to her.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also they say in publishing, no news is good news because a lot of things get rejected instantly.
True.
And
Yeah.
so I don't, but, and then I make up all these, I go, oh, well, maybe they're, because I saw her interviewed and she said, yeah, they run it by 3 people if they want it. And I'm like, you don't even know she opened it yet. I mean,
Not at all.
so it's like but I talked to my writing mentor and she said, what I tell myself is that it's taking so long because they're considering it so carefully. She's like, it's not necessarily true, but like, yeah. But I guess I just want to be able to sit in this when I feel that vulnerability. I guess I just feel like that's been under so many of my patterns, like my chocolate eating, my needing to take action constantly, my
Yeah.
needing for false control, and like,
Yeah.
is that kind of because it's just this feeling of like instability, I guess,
Yeah.
when Todd was asking, it feels like this, as opposed to like when I'm taking action, I feel like bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
The feeling of vulnerability for you, this sounds like, is quite uncomfortable. It's like a feeling of
Floating.
or yeah, or floating is good. So instead of looking for that grounding, can you just fully feel what it's like to feel that floating. Is it inherently a negative state? You've learned over time to equate that with a negative feeling. Like there's danger here, there's something, this isn't okay to feel this. I need to do something to fix it. So that became kind of an alarm bell for you that if this feeling is in the body, that means I have to do something to fix the situation. Now, can you just accept that that alarm bell is ringing and without the association that it is an alarm telling you something dangerous is going on, can you just be with the ambiguity of that feeling of being vulnerable?
That I need to do. Because I noticed when somebody else was talking, I thought, why is it like I feel pain and it's not pain? And I go, like,
Yeah,
it's like all these alarm bells go off so fast in me,
yeah,
you
Yeah.
know?
yeah,
And you're right, this is an alarm bell. That's not really an alarm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is too, and I just want to make sure I've really hammered that one in as much as possible. In terms of the vulnerability with this whole project, as well as everything else, are you secure in you that if it gets rejected, that you won't feel like you have been rejected or that you are rejecting part of you along with them having rejected the book?
Mm.
I am not, but I would like to be.
Yeah, and
I mean,
And
I think I'll be crushed. I think I'll be,
and
I
in
mean,
it
I've been trying to, yeah.
and also in extension, if the book gets accepted, that you have not been accepted, you are not.
yeah,
So it's the same thing.
because it's really important. I mean, that for a lot of us, that feeling of vulnerability is because, like I said, we need somebody else to validate us, but it's never coming from out there. The danger, even like at the worst, if somebody says, no, I'm sorry, the book's not for us, good luck with it.
Yeah.
There's no danger involved in that. The danger is that we then take it upon ourselves to say, "Oh, see, I should have done better. I knew it wasn't that good. And then we turn it against ourselves and become the abuser in that situation so that we actually feel the thing that we were afraid of that entire time. They
Uh-huh.
haven't done anything to us. We have done it to us.
Uh-huh.
So for you to really be okay, to know in yourself that you will be okay one way or another, now you have lost that vulnerability. Now that
Yeah.
weakness is not there because you know you're okay no matter what. You're not going to beat yourself up about it. You're just going to send it to your agent and they're going to send it out to 6 or 7 new people.
Yeah, yeah, I really got to get there because it is such a deep dream of mine. It's been a deep dream of mine for years, and I'm really happy with this book. So it's like,
Uh,
again, it's just, it's, if I didn't care about it, I'd be like, okay, but I care
uh,
so much about it. And then part of me feels like it's so beautiful to care so much about something,
Yeah.
but then it's harder to let it go and to put it out there. It makes it
Yep.
more challenging than plenty of other things I've done where, I was like, okay, this is good. But it's not like, it doesn't feel so personal.
Yeah, that's why you really need that inner strength to know that no matter what anybody else says, you have the conviction that you really love this and you are proud of it,
Yeah,
excited
yeah,
about it,
Mm.
and all of that can be true without making it that other people need to see it that way too. As long,
yeah,
as long as somebody else needs to share that vision for you, you're in a vulnerable position because now you're dependent on somebody else's perspective matching yours, and we can't
this
always
is,
guarantee that.
yeah. This is so helpful. And I guess it's just that there's that balance between like, I love being passionate about things. I know some Buddhists are like, oh, I'm all economics. I'm not into that. I love to be passionate. I love to be passionate about things. But
Yep.
then it is more, if I pretended I didn't care, it'd be different. Or if I
Yeah.
didn't care, it'd be different. So it's like, do you have anything to say about that? And then we should move on. But
Yeah.
it's like, you
Well,
know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah.
I want to be passionate about things.
The only reason that Buddhism says that, sort of that dispassionate, unattached kind of way is better is because you are not at the mercy of other people knocking you off your pedestal. If you have that feeling that like I am super passionate about something, you are vulnerable to being injured. You are vulnerable to suffering if you feel like you need those other people to share
Yeah.
in that experience. if you feel like you're, super attached to the beauty of this sunset, that sunset's only going to last 5 minutes and then it's gone. If you were
Yeah.
attached to the beauty of that, that causes suffering. You can still be super passionate about it for the 5 minutes that it's there and be like, oh my God, this is incredible. Wow. And then it's gone and wow, it's dark. This is amazing. That's fine if you have that kind of unattachment to it. The yeah
Very good.
the problem is just that extra need that we have where you can be absolutely passionate about something, but it's the need for it to be a certain way, for other people to see it a certain way, or to have an expectation that your passion for it has to show up in a certain way. That means it has to be published by a certain person that I'm really passionate about. And all of that makes it so that you're not you're not alive to the passion of the experience or the you know really just appreciating it for what it is. It has to have that other little something attached to it that also has to turn out the way I want it to, or I expect it to, or else it somehow takes away some of the passion I have, or it doesn't reflect the way that I think it should. And then we
Yeah.
make more and more and more out of it. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with passion and love and awe and all of those
Yeah.
things. It's just that attachment to needing for it to be a certain way, to be accepted a certain way, to continue, to be permanent. All of those things are what make it into a problem. Did you
I
have?
think that reminds me. Oh, go ahead.
No, go on.
No, no, you go. Pernille.
I was just sitting and thinking that you are such a good example of that. You're such a good example of that non-attachment, but lots of passion. Because Todd has written this amazing book, Only in Your Mind.
Yeah.
It's really, really,
Yeah.
really an amazing book. But
Yes.
it's a very difficult book to read because you're not spoon-fed anything. You need to go through and have a first Fetter experience while you read it, and a second Fetter experience while you read it. Otherwise, it's just complicated and it's not going to be, reached. And it has not sold millions of copies.
It sold 80
It's
copies.
80 copies or something like that. But you're still very passionate about the book.
Yeah.
You were really passionate when you wrote it. You were very, very passionate about, you know, rewriting and all of that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and still when you take it down and you read one of the poems, you're like, that is really, really good. Really, really
Yeah.
disappointing.
Yeah.
Stand by that.
So still stand by it and still have that passion about it, but there is absolutely no attachment to more than 80 people buying the book.
Yeah. I think one of the places I'm tripped up too is that I want this book to be my contribution. Like I'm tired of marching. I've marched a lot. I've done all this stuff, and I feel like this is what I want to be my contribution. The messages of this book. And so I feel like that's what I can give. And so I want to give that.
Mm.
And I think that trips me up too, because again, I'm always trying to make a contribution, and I've always worked in fields that make it, like I work in environmental engineering, and that's always so important to me to make a contribution with my energy. And I
Yeah.
really want this to be my contribution. And so that's trippy.
Yeah, but again, what we just talked about regarding expectations, you need to look into that as well, because the book is Todd's contribution. That book is solving everything for a person that comes from suicidal ideation and anxiety and depression into awakening. It's giving you everything all the way. So that is definitely Todd's contribution. And 80 people bought the book. So he needs to be okay with his contribution being received, maybe not even read by 80 people.
Yeah, I'm sure not all 80 people have read
Have
the
read the
entire
book.
book.
Because
Yeah.
so it's also that if you feel this is my contribution, you need to look into that expectation, because there is so many things nested in that. If it's only like the closest people to you that would ever read the book and go like, it's a really good book, and that's it. That was your contribution to the world, and then you die. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's a good
So it's
point.
really looking into the expectations that is in that little bubble as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Susan.
Thank you.
So helpful.
Yeah.
It's always nice seeing you.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be here. I've really been looking forward to it.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Wonderful.
So good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you so much. And maybe
Thanks.
see you Sunday for the POK.
Yes. and I will look that up. And
Yeah.
I signed up for POK, and then that's all I
Okay,
did.
but then
So
then,
if
then
you signed up
sign
for-
up, you have an email.
Yeah, well, if you signed up for POK, did they start sending you
Yeah, they started sending me stuff. I never opened a thing.
Oh, okay,
So
open that.
that's
Because
my
so
Open
when
that.
you open it, when you open the
okay.
email, it has all of the sessions listed, and the Zoom link is right in the email for everything. So
Oh, boy.
every week or something they send out
Okay.
of all the things that are coming up for the next couple weeks, and
Okay.
so it's there.
And there you have
So
the link.
it'll have a little write up about it and
Yeah.
a link for it.
I'll do my best. I'm still trying to get through Pranilla's, which I love, the Awakening curriculum. And
Yeah.
just as a note, I listened to I went through the first 5 Fetters, love them, God. I mean, not like I integrated all, but like I was like, yes, yes, yes.
Mhm.
I listened to the 6th Fetter. I was like, what the hell is she talking about? So now I've just gone on to the 7th. I've just said, that's it. I'm like, that one just, and I've had these experiences quite a number of times in my life with spacelessness and all
Yeah,
this. I've had those
amazing.
experiences, but I didn't know. It was so funny. Just I
Yeah.
didn't get what you were talking about, but that's
Yeah,
okay. You know,
6 Fetters where it starts to get weird.
Yeah, it's really
but I love that series. But okay, so hopefully I'll see you at POK.
Amazing. I
Yes.
look forward to seeing you
Yeah.
there. All right.
All
So
right.
good seeing
Thank
you.
you so
Thank you,
much.
Susan.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. We have Gianna. I just want to
Yep.
check. When is your session?
Yeah, I got a little while longer. We'll see.
Okay.
Well, this will be our last one.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Gianna.
Hi, and I'm also okay with waiting if you need to
No,
go.
no.
Oh, it's okay.
No, come on.
Okay. 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 Can you pause the video?
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Thank you.
Hold on. Let me say that.
Yeah. And then we're done, aren't we?
I think we are. Yeah, I
Pause
have to.
button. Yeah, because you have a session.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much, you
you.
guys,
So
for
good seeing you.
speaking out.
Yeah, thank you for
So
sticking
good,
with us.
so
on-
good. Yeah,
Hey.
Jochen, so good to see you guys. And see you on Sunday on POK.
Yeah,
If
hopefully.
you, yeah, that would be wonderful. And next time is the 29th of July that we
Yep.
guys see you here.
Yeah. Happy everything until then.
Happy everything
Enjoy the
and
summer.
yeah, enjoy the summer and all of that. So good seeing all of you.
See everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.